What's up, y'all? Welcome back to En Pointe, the mindset podcast for dancers, artists, athletes, and creatives. I'm your host, Latte, aka Lottie Dottie, and welcome to this week's episode. Oh my god, it was a little late getting it up, you guys. It was a little crazy this week. You know, I don't know if you've heard the news, but California done had a hurricane, child. And not only that, we had an earthquake. Not that it honestly affected anything, but I feel like, I don't know, the atmospheric pressure was like fucking with me. Like all week I was just struggling to get it together. But I don't think I'm the only one, because I've been talking to people and we're all like, I don't know what's doing the renegade, if it's Venus, if it's Mercury, I'm not quite sure. Something is doing the renegade on our ass this week. So we're just gonna regroup. We're taking it with a grain of salt and we're ending this week gracefully. But I do have a really great episode for you guys. We're coming down from doing our 2-part episode on class etiquette. That was awesome. I loved having my guests on. We're back to solo episodes. So I wanted to talk about growth because, you know, we're in this hustle and bustle of taking classes, doing this, doing that. But a lot of us struggle with like imposter syndrome. You know, we're like, I don't really think I'm growing. It's hard to tell ourselves. And I just wanted to touch on the different types of growth that there is that we can go through and how we can actually measure our growth. So we're not just constantly in this state of, I don't know, just self-disappointment, like we're not doing enough, and how to keep growing. Because I think that's also a skill, you know, you get stagnant. And I wanted to talk about this episode, or I wanted to talk about this topic on this episode because, like I said, it's hard to tell if you're actually growing, if what you're doing is actually working. And I see and I feel other dancers get frustrated and ultimately give up. And I don't want that. And I just want to let you guys know you're not alone. I'm like right there with you. I be having my freaking moments where I'm like, is any of this working? What is going on? And then I have to sit down and really like think it through, because like everything, mindset is a muscle, and you got to practice it. So hopefully this gives you guys some clarity and peace of mind to continue on your journey, and definitely send this over to, you know, a dancer, obviously, an artist or an athlete, and honestly anybody just on their own growth journey. Also, I have a huge, exciting announcement before we get started. I am an official partner and ambassador for Slate Milk. So, you know what it is. I've been looking for a clean protein for freaking ever. Okay, I'm talking like clean ingredients. I'm not into all the inflammatory like fillers and stuff that they put in all the proteins nowadays. And I searched high and low and I found Slate Milk. They're super clean ingredients, super chuggable. It tastes like chocolate milk. My favorite happens to be French vanilla. They also have some that have caffeine in them. So I've been messing around with those since I'm changing my caffeine schedule, just playing with my diet. But yeah, I'm an official partner. So if you guys want to try it out, you can get 10% off of your order, and you can use code LATTE. So let me know what you guys think. I'll put all the like little links and stuff in my show notes. You guys know I don't just like partner with random like companies. I make sure I really ride or die for the product before I partner with them. And this is something like, this protein has been good, because I got to chug things quickly in between class, and it's my go-to. So yeah. Alrighty, so let's get into it. So our focus, let's talk about the different types of growth, because I think you should break your growth up in different sections. You can't just go, I'm growing. Okay, what does that mean? So to me, I divide growth up in 4 different sections. So I've got my physical growth, you know, things that could be measured by video, by performance, an actual metric, physical changes, things you can actually see. Okay. And then we've got like our mental growth. This is like maturity, wisdom, patience. You guys know that I've like mentally grown up a lot, obvi. I would hope. But I talk about, my journey in my early 20s and like my mental growth in that way. And then also social growth. So like your influence, networking, social confidence, things like that. And then your spiritual growth. And I don't mean like in a religious kind of way. I more so mean like your soul, like your essence, your presence, your energy, that kind of way. I feel like if you're a person who strives to like leave this earth the best version of yourself, you're always going to be growing. And you're always going to want to be growing in all of these different ways. Like you can't just excel in physical growth and completely disregard every other aspect of your life. I think it's really important to have balance. And so, yeah, you guys, I'll give you some homework in each of these different arenas, but I think you should be well-rounded with your growth. So if your goals are getting really physical, maybe switch it up. Try a social growth goal or like a mental growth goal. I think that growth is really important as well because it's easy to get really comfortable and complacent, and this is really what keeps me going. I don't know what it is, but when I get down, and because I get down too, you guys, like when I get down, I allow myself to feel, whatever I'm feeling. But there's always like a light at the end of the tunnel, not necessarily like, oh, things will be better, but it's like, how am I going to get through this? Like, how am I going to grow from this? How am I going to grow and change from this? And so it really does help me mentally, physically, to like get to the other side of something when I'm in a slump, or just for things to look forward to. Like, yeah. So that's just my like little take on it. So I strongly feel that we are not the best judge of character for our own growth. I don't know what it is, but if you ask somebody like, hey, how much have you grown in this area? We either completely disregard all the growth that we've done. That's like a majority of us. Or we completely overshoot what we've done. So the most important thing to do on a growth journey is you need to find an honest friend. And when I say honest, I mean like a nice friend, not like a don't get no like mean friend. Maybe like I was going to say get you a Sagittarius. We'll be honest with you, but we going to tell it like it is. And I don't know, sometimes it be coming out very no filter, but it's honest. Or who else? Capricorn? Virgo? I don't know. I'm trying to think. Get you an honest friend. Doesn't matter what the frick their sign is, okay? Get you an honest friend. Not one that's going to be like, you did great today. Like, when we take dance classes and everyone's just screaming just to scream, like scream for energy. Yes, yes, yes. But like, you're not going to want to like just have somebody be like, you did great. Like you want someone to be like, you did great. I've seen you do better. Like, I think that you should explore this, or like give you like honest feedback. Do you know what I mean? I have a few people in my life that give me like honest feedback. My husband, oh my God, I can always count on this man to like tell me the freaking truth. Like whether it's dancing, whether it's anything else, like he is going to tell me like it is, and it's never mean. Like it's always just the freaking truth. You know what I'm saying? And I think vice versa. He's like yeah, we're always giving each other that honest feedback. So we really are that person for each other. But I think find a person that you can rely on that's going to give you honest feedback on your journey, because they're going to tell you when you are actually doing a good job, and you need to acknowledge it, or they're going to tell you, hey, I think you're slacking a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? And you're going to know that this is a safe person that you have that connection with. So you're not going to take it, you're not going to take it personally. So you're going to take it for what it is and just use it as a tool. Awesome. So part of this homework, step 1, I want you to find that person. So if you're a dancer, maybe you get a coach. Hello. Or maybe you have an instructor or a non-dance friend. I think non-dancers are really great at this because they don't know what to look for. They literally don't know what to look for. So they're going to tell the truth, and start asking them. I want you to ask, how specifically have you seen me grow or progress in this? And show them examples, you know what I mean? And say, like, can you see a clear difference? And like, what do you notice? And maybe for non-dancers, they can't answer this next one, but for dancers, hey, what are some things I can work on in your opinion? And it's all like, and then like, get a piece of paper and start to take notes, because it's free game, y'all. Like, it's not anything personal. Like, I think that's the best way. Like, ask people, ask questions. People love to talk. Never look at me. I have a whole fucking podcast because I like to talk. Like, people love to talk. Don't don't forget that. Like, utilize that, you know what I mean? And so ask them, and they love to give their opinion too. People love to give their opinion. So like, give them space to give an opinion on how you can grow, and then write that shit down. That's free game, baby. I'm always trying to take the free game. Athletes, you're going to do the same thing. How can you perform better? Now, artists, this is tricky, because artists, I want you to do this, but like, as a choreographer, I might do this, but I'm going to take it with a grain of salt, because at the end of the day, I need to make that artistic decision, whether that's a direction I want to go. But I need to make that artistic decision. Do you understand me? Don't be sitting in indecision. I think we had this discussion a few weeks back. Sitting in indecision is not helping you. So take what serves you, get opinions, marinate on them, maybe wonder why they were getting that from what you were putting out, and then make a decision and move on. Is this something that you want to continue to, use, or do you want to go a different direction? So yeah. All right. So along with, just having a person to check you on your growth, let's get into how you can tell you're growing in these different aspects. Okay. Let's start off with physical growth. Okay. It's simple, but it's not easy. Physical growth. So how can you tell that you're growing physically? This is going to be things like looking at your videos. So I know a lot of us sometimes are really against taking videos. I think it's a good idea. And even me, I have to check myself sometimes, because right now I'm like, I'm not good enough to record in hip hop yet. I don't feel like I'm there yet, but I put a deadline on myself. I said, no, enough. By next week, we need to be filming in hip hop classes, because I need to gauge what I'm doing correctly and what I'm not. Like, eyeballing it is not enough. Now we need to push a little bit more. Take videos. You don't have to post it. You don't gotta post shit. Okay, we could just take a video for the for the vibes, for the progress, so you can look and see, oh, I'm sharper here. Oh, I need to get lower. Like, I saw a video the other day and I was like, okay, levels, where the fuck are they at? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, to check yourself. Like, you need to physically watch this so you can change what you can see. I want you to pay attention to the classes that used to be hard for you. There's a bunch of classes that I take now that I used to struggle, okay? A bunch of instructors I take now that it's like, I don't want to say cake, but I'm not stressed. And I used to struggle. And I took a class last week and I was like, like, that was good, And the instructor came up to me and she's like, yo, like, you look great. Your like textures are so good, And I'm like, wow, I didn't even catch all that. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking like, oh man, yeah, like the last time you saw me, I was in a different era. And so, pay attention to those classes that used to be hard for you, because that's growth. That's like a secret little margin of growth. And don't just take that lightly. That's a huge accomplishment. For people on my fitness journey, I did not want to do this, but taking pictures of your body, like if you're on an actual fitness journey, like I think that's pretty normal thing we do now. But don't I don't know, like I didn't want to do that at first, and my trainer when I worked with Tiffany almost like a year ago now, or a little over a year ago now, she's like, we're taking pictures day one, and I was like, oh my god, please don't make me do this, like it's so corny. And she took pictures, and then like the last like week or so working with her, she's like, we're gonna take another picture, and I was like, again, so fucking corny, hate this. And I remember seeing those pictures and be like, holy shit. Like, you know what I mean? Because I've never, I don't know. That was just like a weird concept for me. I was like, I'm not doing this. This is like so cornball, taking pictures. But it's really good to see all of your hard work in like 2 different pictures. It's insane. So if you're starting a fitness journey, and it doesn't matter, keep taking the fitness pictures. Doesn't matter. Okay. Just keep taking them. I want you to also pay attention what technical skills used to be difficult for you. Maybe you can do a double turn now, piece of cake, when you used to not even be able to do a turn. That's a win, you guys. You have to acknowledge these little tiny small things, okay? Stretching, maybe you couldn't hit a middle splits before, and now you can hit a middle splits like it's nothing. Understand that these small physical changes, no matter how small, is growth. And when you compound this over time, it's going to lead to huge changes. What's the quote I always say? Small, daily, seemingly insignificant changes, when practiced over time, lead to staggering results. I think that's the quote. It goes for this concept of physical growth. And like I said, you need to acknowledge yourself for it, because what do you want to do? You want to Pavlov? Is it Pavlov, you guys? When you like ring a bell every time you give the dog a treat or something? I don't know. I can't remember. But you want to reward this good behavior so you mentally can keep doing it. Do you know what I mean? All right. So moving on to the mental growth. I call this our personal aha moments. These are more internal, but so fucking important, right? Because you're not just a physical body. You've got a mind too. Hello. That's what this whole talk and concept and podcast is about. Things that are going to measure mental growth. So the huge one that stands out to me is not giving up in classes when it gets hard that you previously used to give up in. Oh my God. This is me. Like I telling you guys from experience, I take classes now and I'm like, I told you guys, like, we take face off, and I'm like, yo, I used to walk into this class and be like, halfway through, I'm like, I'm checked out. Like, I am checked out. I'm telling you right now. Okay. And I would stay in class, obviously, but I was like, I'm mentally gone. Mentally, I am somewhere else. Now I'm so in it. I am in it. Okay. Also walking off during filming. This happens to so many people. And I think it takes that mental switch and a little bit of mental growth to realize like, I'm not going to let myself do that. I can't do that anymore. And so when you start to make that connection, that growth, you stop doing it. And that's a huge accomplishment. I know so many dancers that are amazing and they've overcome that. So if you are currently doing that, or if you have currently overcome that, I want to applaud you. Keep going. It's always going to be a challenge. If that was your personal challenge, walking off when things get hard, it's always going to be there, but it gets easier. And I want you to understand that is mental growth. That's mental toughness. Okay. Another sign of mental growth is telling yourself you're going to do something and sticking to it. This one I think toggles. And like I always say, everything is a freaking muscle, you guys. So mental growth is a muscle. If you tell yourself, oh, I'm going to 16 classes this week, and you only show up to 3, well, we were just not as mentally strong about it as we were, next week or last week. Doesn't matter. We try again. You know what I mean? Until eventually it becomes easy. When you tell yourself you're going to do something, you stick to it. And with this one, I like to stick to small tasks. If you're learning to still show up for yourself, that's completely fine. We've all been to square one. And then guess what? We get to square 10, and then sometimes we get knocked back down to square 1. It's okay. But start with small tasks. I'm going to get up and I'm going to stretch for 10 minutes. Okay. And then once you do that, you build confidence to do something else and something else and something else. It just builds on top of yourself. So until you build that muscle. Yeah. Knowing how to ground yourself in class, in an audition or performance. Oh my God, this is so me. I used to, like, you guys know, when I was in my 20s, I was a mess. And I don't know what it is about an audition setting now, but I will love auditions. I think it's just because I'm like competitive, but I wasn't always that way. And I would get into an audition setting and I would like be in shambles, unprepared, the whole thing. Okay. Now I'm like, I'm prepared. I'm on top of it. But it took me a second to understand that was something I had to mentally check in with myself. And I had to be like, all right, I want to make sure that I am giving myself the best opportunity. I am putting myself in the best arena to perform. I'm not, putting myself in a state of stress, because I don't know, I've been on this whole kick about like lowering my stress and lowering my cortisol levels lately. And like, if I'm not mentally prepared for class nowadays, I'm not gonna go. Because I know that it's just going to put me, and especially if it's a hard class or something, or they're filming or something, I'm not gonna do it because it's not going to benefit me. Do you know what I mean? And so it takes some mental growth to get to that point where you're like, no, let me do what's best to prepare myself to be ready for the audition, to be ready for class, to be ready for the performance, and not just like live vibe to vibe. Living vibe to vibe is stressful. Don't do that to yourself. Also, not getting distracted in class. Distractions will happen. It's being mentally tough and mentally grown and mentally mature to not get distracted. You guys all know the like people in class who like something happens and they start talking and it's the most, right? And it's distracting. They just haven't really got there yet where they're like, okay, I need to ground back. You know what I'm saying? But if you know how to do that, then that is a skill that you've learned where you can ground yourself in a distracting situation and then execute. And I think that's so freaking important. You cannot let your distractions win. But that is also, like I said, a muscle. And so you need to learn how to exercise that muscle. And then lastly, in this little arena, not that there's many, many more examples, but understanding your emotions. Sometimes we get triggered by things and we live on them, and it's not a good way to go about making decisions. It's not a good way to go about life in general, outside of dance, inside of dance, whatever. But that takes a special type of mental growth to get there. You need to understand like what you're feeling, why, what's the deeper reason why, and you need to learn how to not act on them. So that also takes mental growth. The next arena is social growth. So I'm sending love to all my people in this arena who are socially awkward, my anxious babies. This could be your major milestone, so don't overlook these. The social growth is huge, especially if you are a person, like I said, with social anxiety. Hi, that's me. Or just socially awkward people. Like, these are major. Like, for my social butterflies, well, whatever, go do y'all thing, baby. But like, there's other ways that you can grow if you are also social. So making friends in class, I think that's huge. There was a point where, like, when I first moved to LA, I was like, I'm staying in my little bubble. I don't like to talk to anybody. Like, it's crazy, guys, because I'm not shy, but I am. Like, I'm not shy. I'm not shy, but I'm just like, if I don't know anybody, I'm just like so like locked down. And so I was taking classes like that for a long time. I was like, I don't want to talk to anybody. Don't ask my name. Let me just be in my little like space, my bubble. And I was like, man, this is not, I wanted to move to LA to like experience like the whole thing. I wanted to make friends. I wanted to make connections. I wanted to potentially work with other people. So I gotta get past that. And so now I'm like, I don't care if it kills me. I'm going to talk to somebody in class. I don't care what it's about. I'm going to make a friend. Okay, I'm going to say hi. And sometimes it's like a breeze, and sometimes it is soul crushing. But the fact that I will just be like, fuck it, I'm going to say hi, or I'm going to say something goofy to lighten the mood, or I'm going to at least try, is huge for me. So if this is you too, just like celebrate those small wins. Like when you get done with class, be like, oh my God, I made a friend. I got somebody's Instagram. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so many times now I exchange Instagrams, I talk to other people, and I'm like, whew, less scary talking to people. And like I said, it's insane because I talk to people all day. I talk to people at work. I'm a teacher. I talk to you guys on the podcast, but there's something about social settings. I just get all like jammed up. Another form of social growth is asking to be put in groups. So I love, and I think we talked about this last week, when the teachers are like, if you want to go, go. Oh, that takes balls, right? Because you're not relying on the teacher to choose you, which, you know, that's cool too, but you have to choose yourself. And a lot of us have struggles with that, with choosing ourselves and telling the room, yo, we belong here, whatever reason we belong here, you know? And so telling the teacher, like, I want to go, and just running out onto the floor, that's huge. That is huge. And it, like I said, like with everything, it's a muscle. And so if you are, you know, scared to do it this week, maybe you try a little harder next week, or maybe you try a little harder tomorrow, and it's okay. But that is definitely a way to measure, you know, growth in that aspect. Have you grown where you don't even think twice, you just go, you know what I mean? Or are you still kind of sitting there and holding back? You know, it's hard, but that's definitely a win to be celebrated. The fact that you showed up and you chose yourself, and you expressed that I want to be here, I want to learn, I deserve to film, to be in a group, you know. So celebrate that. Another one is feeling comfortable and confident enough to freestyle without judgment. I love this one because I feel like I noticed that too. When I feel more comfortable, my freestyles look more comfortable. I do cooler shit, or I do better shit, or whatever. Or I do more explorative shit. Let's say that, okay? Because I feel comfortable to just do what my body wants to do, as opposed to if I feel like a little shy, you know, maybe I just stick to the same old, you know, two-step and the hair whip. You know what I'm saying? But when you feel truly comfortable enough to express yourself artistically, then you can, you know, grow in that aspect of showing everybody who you are through a freestyle, or in a moment where the choreographer tells you to make a choice, right? So that's a big win too. Another form of social growth is knowing when to remove yourself from an unhealthy situation. This could be a dance team. This could be a dance class. This could be a group of friends. It's tough. That's a really tough one, right? Because we love our friends, of course. But we sometimes realize, this is really not the best path for me, or you guys are all on a path, or you have habits that I really don't want to pick up on. So knowing how to remove yourself in like in a drama-free way, and like a chill way. Like, it doesn't need to be like a whole formal invitation to like stop being friends. Like, just knowing how to gracefully remove yourself from a situation and then do what you need to do. That's a form of mental growth. And a huge one that I think is really, really, really important that I see all the time, is knowing how to balance dance and fucking real life, dude. You need to be able to balance dance in real life. I know it feels like dance is our whole life. And Miss moved her whole got married and then moved to LA and left the husband in San Diego. Like, I feel you. But I'm constantly I'm constantly balancing my actual life with my dance life. And so I always have things in the works on how to make sure that like my husband's taken care of, our like future family is taken care of, like my work is taken care of, like our expenses, like retirement, health insurance, things like that. Like you can't just, I would love to just dive into dance like 110%, but there's other things too that you have to take care of, and you're going to dance better and you're going to feel more fulfilled as a dancer, I believe, if you don't have everything else in your life just crashing down and just living day to day. That's so stressful. And so I think that takes a form of like mental and social growth, right? Because you have to deal with your family, you have to deal with your friends, and if you have a significant other. The next one is spiritual growth. And like I said, no, not religion, just like your conscious and your like soul. So spiritual growth, knowing when to change your goals or pivot. That's growth. That is huge. I think it takes a part of you to like let go of ego and understand like, is this nourishing to what really fuels me, or is this just like what looks good, or is this just what is popular, or what, like, is this truly what I want? And to admit that to yourself, because you don't got to admit that to anybody else, right? It's very internal, but to admit that to yourself, like, am I happy in the direction that I'm going? Yes or no? And like, how can I change it? That takes growth. And so if you've had to do that, maybe you've had to change your dance schedule, or maybe you've had to, with me, putting dance aside for a good amount of years so I could go back to school, make sure that my future was set up. It takes some spiritual growth. You gotta admit that to yourself. And so acknowledge yourself for it, please, because that's leaps and bounds, babe. Also, like I said, knowing what's truly right for you and nourishing you. It's so easy to get distracted by just we're surrounded by distractions, y'all. And so just knowing what is your purpose here? What are you truly meant to do? Are you truly meant to inspire others as a choreographer? Are you? Maybe that was a cool thought. Maybe you're really meant to perform, or maybe you were really meant to, be a coach and be a support, or maybe you were really meant to, be a part of a team. Like, truly understanding what nourishes you and sticking to it and sticking by it. That's spiritual growth, Also, controlling your own self-worth and not relying on validation from others. This is spiritual growth. I think that, there's a lot of validation, or a lot of people want validation from Instagram, which is wild, child. But you have to be able, like, if Instagram didn't exist, would you be happy with the direction that you're going or what you're doing? If the internet did not exist, I know that's a crazy concept, but like, think about it. Like, if the internet didn't exist and no one knew what you were doing, would you be happy with what you're doing? And really sit in that. Ask yourself, maybe that's part of homework. Sit in that and be like, if no one saw what I was doing, if no one saw me dancing, if no one saw me doing anything dance related, am I happy doing what I'm doing? Am I happy dancing the style I'm dancing? Am I happy dancing as much as I'm dancing? Am I happy doing you know what I mean? And really dive into yourself, because shit, people we do things just cause sometimes with no intention. And it's, when you start doing things intentional, that's spiritual growth. I want you to understand that, and knowing how to validate yourself, and knowing how to validate yourself and tell yourself, I'm good enough. I deserve this, and I am going to do this. That's huge. Another form of spiritual growth is allowing yourself to feel your feelings and your emotions. It's really I don't know if it's easy to suppress, but it's common for a lot of us to just stuff things down and then just go about our day, especially now. Oh my God, capitalism is crazy, y'all. But it's not healthy. It's not good for our souls. It's not good for us. It's not good for our conscious, for our mind. And so sitting down and allowing yourself to feel what you're feeling, and then once you feel what you're feeling, you can start to understand, oh, I'm feeling this because of this. You know what I mean? That's growth, because not a lot of people want to sit in that. It's uncomfortable. It's hella uncomfortable to sit in that and try to get to the root of why you're doing what you're doing. But it's a form of growth when you're able to. And last little part of this, like I said, definitely not the least, and there's definitely more examples, but feeling confident in yourself and feeling good about feeling confident in yourself and not letting anybody shake that confidence. That is growth. So many people, and if you're a confident person naturally, good for you, and be grateful for it every single day, because there's people that would do anything to have the confidence that you have. So if you do have confidence like that and you are like a naturally just like confident person, like I said, be grateful every day and try to use it for, use it for good. Like, this is big sister talking. Use that shit for good and set a good example, and maybe stick up for the people that can't. Maybe stick up for the people that can't for themselves. You know what I mean? That's why I don't know. I feel like I'm a very, not always, but a fairly confident person. And so my big thing is, in my classes, I'm like an advocate for you. I don't give a fuck what I'm doing. Fuck what I'm doing. How do you feel? How do you feel about how you showed up to class today? Do you feel good? If you don't feel good, then let's work on it together. I'm right there with you. So I think that feeling confident in yourself is a form of spiritual and conscientious. Y'all know this messes me up. Growth. Your homework for this week, because it's been a while, I didn't forget, is I want you to look at these different areas. Okay, so we've got physical, we've got social, we've got mental, and we've got spiritual. Did I just say that incorrectly? We've got physical, we've got spiritual, we've got mental, and we've got social. There we go. Those different areas, and I want you to write down a few ways that you plan on growing, or a few ways that you are growing. Just see where you're at in each of those realms, okay? Because like I said, sometimes we focus heavily in one area, maybe just physical, when we're not focusing on mental, we're not focusing on social, things like that. So I want you to see where you're at in each section. Just do a little mental check-in and see what we're doing there, okay? And we'll go from there first. Check in with yourself, see where you're at first. I want to give a major key for growth. Okay, so listen, growth is not the destination; it's a continuous journey. Okay, it keeps going after you succeed, whatever the hell you're trying to succeed. It's not just I'm gonna know that I grew once I get here. Okay. It keeps going. Can you imagine how limited our growth would be? And I want you to understand, you need to look for different areas where you're growing. Like, say your intention for class was to be sharper. You show up to class, you leave, and you're not sharper. It does not mean you didn't grow. Okay? Maybe you grew in a mental tough way because you stuck it out the entire class, knowing that you were having a hard time. Okay, so you need to be a detective in looking for the ways that you grew. Maybe you had a really hard, this is me, like I had like not a hard week, but like it was a rough week, and I didn't go to one dance class. I didn't go to not one dance class. But you know what I didn't do this week? I didn't like get down on myself. I just like allowed myself to do what I needed to do, rest, whatever I needed to do mentally, so I could go into next week feeling good. Okay. And I don't know, for me, that's a win, because in the past, child, I would have stressed myself out every single day of this week talking about, oh my God, you didn't go to class again. Oh my God. Today I didn't go to class and you know what? I made the decision not to go and I just kept pushing. Hello. We don't got time. We have other things to do, you know? And so that's growth, but that's an example of my growth. Some tips for continuous growth. So, I think these are important. Number one is going to be take a fucking break. Take breaks. Just take a break. Whatever you're striving for will still be there. I promise you. Okay? It'll still be there. And if it's not, it was not meant for you. Okay? Do not burn yourself out trying to grow at a speed that doesn't make sense for you. And you actually won't even grow. You need to, especially if it's a physical goal, like with classes. There was a point, I think last month, where I was just like 3 classes every single day, 7 days a week. Dude, by Sunday, my body wasn't even functioning. That's why my hamstring flared up, my injury flared up, because I was just pushing myself to take classes. Okay, I wasn't even allowing myself to sit down and absorb what I've learned. So take a break. Okay, let your growth cash in. Let that shit cash in. Another tip is to frequently celebrate your wins. No matter how small, it doesn't matter. Like, literally, you woke up 15 minutes earlier so you can stretch. That's a win. Okay, you showed up 10 minutes early to class so you could say hi to the choreographer. Wow, what a win. Like, celebrate the small wins. Give yourself those little tiny applauses. It's going to motivate you to continue doing the behavior that you desire. Okay? Measure your growth from where you started, not from where you want to be. And I think I talked about this one before. It's really easy to look at yourself right here and then look at up there and be like, wow, I ain't shit. But really, you need to realize that you are right here and you started here, okay? And what's that? That's growth. Hello. So I want you to really recognize where you've come from, not where you're going. And that's also going to keep you motivated. You need to learn how to self-critique your methods. So this one's really important. If you are, working towards a specific goal and you truly see, like you've looked at everything, you truly see not growth, but success in the path that you're going, critique the way that you're trying to do it or you're trying to grow and achieve it and change it. You have to learn how to self-critique. No one's going to give you the answers. And this is like heavy on me too. Like the things I want to achieve, am I achieving them the way that I'm doing right now? No. So I need to write down my methods and look subjectively. I need to look at them on a broad scale. There we go. And realize where I can make tweaks in my strategy. How do you if you want to become, if you want to be signed, if you want to be on a certain dance team, if you want to be part of a certain dance community performance, if you want to work with a choreographer, like how are you trying to grow so you can achieve these? Are they working? Are you getting closer? If you are, continue. If you're not, it might be time to pivot, to change, and that's going to take that where that mental growth comes in, where you're able to see that. I love this one. Do hard shit. If you want to continuously grow, you have to do hard shit. I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I need to do harder shit. Harder, scarier shit. The harder and the scarier it is, the more you're going to have that like launch into that next level of growth. I promise you. And it's so uncomfortable. I know, because I'm like this too, where I'm like, let me just go at a comfortable pace. No, because then you want to comfortably get to your goals. No, you want to launch yourself into your goal and into your goals and into your growth and your objective. Or you know what I'm saying? You want to get to your destination, right? You don't have time. Time is limited. So that's my urgency kicking in. And also, like I said, my last little tip here is be open-minded to what growth looks like. So like my example earlier, maybe you just showed up to class. Your intention was to tap in with a choreographer, but the end of class comes and they are swamped and you don't actually get to say hi, but you made 4 friends while you were there. Oh, that's social growth. Wow. Good for you, friend. Like that's a win. Like be open-minded, and you have to really train your brain to like look for those opportunities. So like one thing that I do before bed, I'm a cornball, is I list out all the things I was grateful for that day. I don't know. I just feel like I sleep better when I do that. So I sit there and I'm like, I'm grateful that my orange juice was really good this morning. I'm grateful that I had money to buy orange juice. I'm grateful that I have a job. Like I just list out just little things that really matter. And I feel like this is a good way to do with growth. Like if you're like laying in bed tonight, like think like, how did I grow? So, well, I'll tell you my example. This morning last night I decided, but this morning I implemented, I'm going to go my first 2 hours without phone. And then I'm going to go my last 2 hours without phone. So like no scrolling or anything or answering emails or anything. The first 2 hours of my day and the last 2 hours of my day. So that's growth. That's growth. I didn't do that yesterday. It was just something that I was like, I want to do that. I want to grow in that way. And so that's what I did this morning. And then another thing I've been doing is, you guys know I love my like cold ice face plunges. My husband does the full body plunges. Girl, we get into it, but it's cold, child. Every day this week, I've been doing my face plunges. That's more than I did last week. That's growth, yo. That is growth in the health realm, okay? And also I've been eating better and stuff, but that's a different topic. Yeah, like you need to train your brain to like look for the small areas of growth. Oh, I woke up a little earlier. Oh, I didn't give up when shit got really hard in this class. So train your brain to look for these areas of growth. And then what you're going to notice is your brain's going to do it regardless. You're not even going to have to tell your brain to do that. It's just going to do it. Some things to be mindful of. So be focused on actually growing, not just looking like you're growing. This one I feel like is very like social media specific, because we all love to post these like videos and I'm not like downplaying anything. I get a little hesitant with posting nowadays too, because I'm just like, why am I posting this? Is this to post that, hey, I'm taking class? Okay. It doesn't matter what you guys think about me taking class. All that matters is that I'm taking class and that I'm actually growing. So why am I posting this? Do you know what I'm saying? Sometimes we'll post and we're like, oh, I took this class and this class and this class. That's great. Like, are you posting this because you feel truly proud? Are you posting this to prove that you're trying to grow? Like the intention behind, I guess that's virtue signaling. I don't know what it's called, but like be focused on the actual growth, not looking like you're growing. And also don't define your growth next to somebody else's growth. It's all about focus. So maybe like, sure, they're getting faster than you at choreography retention, but that's not their focus. Maybe that's your focus, but their focus is actually to make friends with the choreographer. So, and you don't know, maybe they're not doing good in that area, or maybe they are. Like, don't look at somebody else and how fast they're doing something and just be like, completely disregard your own growth. Okay. We all grow at different speeds. We all have different focuses, and don't let that deter you at all. And last but not least, something to be mindful of growth is know your why, know your intention. And we talk about this all the time. Like, shit's gonna get rough, friend. Shit's gonna get real tough, okay? When you're growing and when you're working hard and when you're working on a goal, there's gonna be lots of speed bumps. Nothing's ever easy. If everything was easy that you wanted to do, then first of all, you would already do it. Secondly, everybody else would do it too. So understand that, like, this is what you signed up for. It's gonna be tough. And I tell myself this too all the time. I'm like, what did you expect? It was gonna be easy. No, it's gonna be hard. So why are you doing what you're doing? And is it important to you? You know what I mean? And if it's not, then that is when you're going to check in with your spiritual growth side and say, hey, I think I need to pivot, or I need to change, or I need to continue what I'm doing. But yeah, that's what I have for us this week. And again, so sorry I was late getting this one out, but shit happens. I don't get stressed about it anymore. I know you guys understand. And I'm also still doing my little shout outs for you guys because, again, I'm so appreciative. I keep receiving so much love and support from everybody. I really, really just so grateful that I was able to pull this together. Look, if you're watching on YouTube, I have a sign. And if you're not watching on YouTube, it's okay. But I have a sign, a neon sign that says On Point. But I just love having these discussions with you guys. I think it's like my therapy session too. And I just really love, having these talks and also talking to other people. When I started this podcast, I really wanted for it to be a way for me to socially grow because, like I said, I have social anxiety, believe it or not. And do you know how many freaking people that I talk to now because of the podcast? I'll put out these polls and then I just will slide into people's DMs and be like, hey, what do you think about this? Can I pick your brain on this? Da, da, da. And then we're having a full-on conversation, then we're friends. It's crazy. So I really am grateful for, this platform that I'm creating and growing, and you guys are growing with me. Thank you. And I just want you guys to know that it's a way for me to grow. And so you guys are seeing everything in real time. But I hope you guys have an awesome week. And wherever you are, I don't know if the Venus renegade is getting to you, child, but we're going to get through it. And also, we're going to have a great week next week. So if you're like me, where this week was a little bit of a bust, we're awesome. We're first of all, we're going to have a great weekend because it's not over yet. And then we're going to go into next week, recharge, refocused, pivoting on some new shit, and ready to take on our goals. So yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of your evening, and I will talk to you guys later.